Hello, my dear students. Welcome to science class. So we are continuing with chapter number 14, water. Okay. So let's see what we are going to learn today. Now, today we will be learning a very interesting topic, that is rainwater harvesting. Okay. And what are the different process of rainwater harvesting? That is, number one is we will learn about rooftop rainwater harvesting, and number two we will be learning about open spaces rainwater harvesting. Okay, so let's proceed. Okay, now in our previous class we had learned about the conservation of water. Okay, why water conservation is very essential, because every drop counts. Okay, like fresh water, only a fraction of the total availability of water is fresh water, and we require only the fresh water for our various purposes. Okay, so hence water conservation is very important. Okay, so this rainwater harvesting is one of the very important way of increasing the availability of water to overcome its shortage. Okay, so what is rainwater harvesting? The activity of collecting rainwater directly and store it in big tank for later use, or making the rainwater percolate into the ground more efficiently to recharge the groundwater, is called what? Is called rainwater harvesting. Okay, so this definition, it includes the runoff from land watersheds into stream, river and lake, etc. So hence it is the catching of rainwater when it falls and storing it to use during the non-rainy season. Okay, now what are the two main techniques of rainwater harvesting? As I said you, number one is the collection and shortage of rainwater in tanks for future use when there is a scarcity of water, and to make the rainwater percolate into ground more efficiently by constructing the percolating pits and recharge well. Okay, so as to recharge or replenish the groundwater. Okay, now the question comes, why do we need the rainwater to be harvested? Here you see what are the points. Number one, to conserve and augment the storage of groundwater. Okay, because you know that groundwater, it leads to what? It leads to go down. Okay, on continuous use. Okay, so how does this groundwater gets recharged? The groundwater, it gets recharged by what? By rainwater. Okay, number two, to reduce the water table depletion. Okay, the topmost layer of the groundwater is called water table. And as I said you that with the continuous use of this groundwater, the water table, it leads to go down. Okay. Number three, to improve the quality of groundwater. Number four, to arrest seawater intrusion in coastal areas. And number five, to avoid flood and water stagnation in urban areas. Okay. So the groundwater that we take out for our use by digging well, tube wells, and like installing hand pumps comes from the rainwater which seeps into ground naturally. Now, what happens when too much of water is drawn through these wells and tube wells for use in home, agriculture, and industry? Even the motor pumps are used for the purpose of irrigation, and over there also the groundwater are being fetched. Okay, so water level in the wells and tube wells, it goes down drastically. Okay, so some of the wells and tube wells may even dry up completely. Okay, and this leads to what? This leads to the shortage of groundwater, right? Now, in rural areas, what happens, most of the ground, it has open soil, due to which sometimes what happens, the rainwater, it can seep into the ground naturally, make up for the loss in groundwater due to excessive use. Okay. Now, in urban areas, however, what happens, most of the ground is converted with buildings, concrete pavements, and metal roads, due to which what happens, only few little rainwater, it seeps into the ground naturally. Okay, now most of the rainwater which falls in cities, okay, what happens, it goes directly to the drains. Okay, so rainwater harvesting, it is very much essential for in city areas. Okay, so rainwater harvesting, it makes more water percolate into the ground. Okay, and it is usually done in those areas of a city where tube wells for supplying water are located. Okay, so rainwater, it can be done in two ways. Number one is a rooftop rainwater harvesting, and rainwater harvesting from open spaces around the building. Okay, and the main purpose is to what is to store the rainwater on surface for future use. And number two is what? Number two is to recharge the groundwater. Okay. Now, what are the reasons for this shortage of water? Number one, the very important reason is population increase. Number two is industrialization. Number three is urbanization. Okay, and number four, in places where rain-fed or irrigation-based crops are cultivated through groundwater. And number five is decrease in surface area of lakes. Okay. So as I said you that there are two ways of rainwater harvesting. Number one is the rooftop rainwater harvesting. Number two is rainwater harvesting from open spaces around buildings. Okay. Now, first we will be learning about rooftop rainwater harvesting. Now, rooftop rainwater harvesting, it can be done for two purposes. Okay, what are that? Collecting rainwater falling on the roof and storing it in big tanks for later use. Okay, or collecting rainwater falling on roof, making it percolate into the ground to recharge groundwater. Okay, now in the first method, what happens? The rainwater collecting on the roof of the house. Here you see. Okay, they are brought down through the rainwater pipe. Here you see. This is the rainwater pipe. Okay. And it is collected in a big underground tank made up of concrete. Okay. Here you see. A tank is being created, storage tank. It is made up of concrete or cement. Okay. Over here it is stored. Okay. This is the rainwater pipe. Okay. This pipe is connected to the roof. Okay. Now, this water, it may contain soil particles from the roof, and before using it gets need to be filtered. Okay. Now, this stored water, like in times of water scarcity, you can use. Okay. In another method, what is done generally, like the pipe that brings down the rainwater here, this one. Okay, the pipe that brings down the rainwater. Okay, it goes directly into the percolation pit. For example, over here, a percolation pit has been constructed. So rainwater, instead of going it into the tank, okay, what happens? It goes directly in underground. Okay, it goes directly in underground. Here you see. It is going directly in underground. Okay, one process is in storing it in water tank. Here you see. And another process here, percolation pit is there. This is a percolation pit, and from here it is going directly to the underground. Okay, now this percolation pit, it has layer of broken bricks at the bottom. Here you see broken bricks are present at the bottom, and a layer of gravel in the middle and coarse sand at the top. Okay, now a narrow bore or hole, okay, about 3 meters deep is dug into the ground. Here you see. Okay, this one is dug into the ground. Okay, now outlet pipe, okay, coming out of percolation pit is put into this bore. Okay, and over here actually this thing is stored. Okay, now how this works? The rainwater which is collected on the roof over here, here you see the rainwater is collected. It is brought down by rainwater pipe. This is the rainwater pipe. Okay, into the percolation pit. Okay, over here this is a percolation pit. Here it is collected. Okay, now from here, the rainwater comes out of the percolation pit through an outlet pipe. This one is the outlet pipe. Okay. Now, this outlet pipe, it takes the rainwater deep into the ground where it can easily seep into the soil. Here you see. The rainwater is seeping into the soil. Okay. So, this is how what happens. The underground water, it gets what? It gets recharged. Okay. Now, rooftop rainwater harvesting, it collects only a small amount of rainwater at a time, which can seep into the soil quickly through the percolation pit with a narrow bore. Okay. Now, however, if the rainwater harvesting is done from large open spaces around the buildings, then what happens? A very large amount of rainwater collects in a very short period of time, which cannot be absorbed into the soil by percolation pit with a narrow bore. Okay. Now, next one is what? Rainwater harvesting from open spaces around building. Okay, suppose this is a building, school building, and over here, these are the open spaces. Okay, now, like the rainwater harvesting from open spaces around the building in a city, it is done, how it is done? by constructing percolation pit covered with concrete slabs having holes in them. Okay, the concrete slabs are there and it has got what? It has got holes in them. Okay, now, and this is connected to a recharge well. This one is a recharge well, okay, through a pipe. Now this recharge well, it is what? It is about 1 meter in diameter and 3 meters deep. Okay, now rainwater falling in the open spaces around the buildings, it goes directly into the percolation pit through the holes and concrete slab cover. Okay, now after it gets filtered in the percolation pit, okay, in somewhere it is not filtered, in some cases it is filtered. Okay, then what happens? The rainwater, it enters the recharge well through the outlet pipe and gradually seeps into the soil. Okay. So with this, what we can say, we can conclude that the main purpose of rainwater harvesting is not to hold the rainwater on the surface of the earth, but to make the rainwater percolate under the ground more efficiently so as to recharge the groundwater. Okay, and this groundwater, it can be taken out through tube wells and when it is required. Okay, so the main advantage of this rainwater harvesting is that it increases the availability of groundwater and it helps in overcoming water shortage. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you, everyone.